Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Hero Signal. In a recent comment, I was asked to put out a video talking about the Versus Arena, explaining a little bit about it, as well as giving out some tips on how to succeed in a mode that is extremely competitive. For starters, the Versus Arena is a real-time PvP arena, unlike the Challenge and Trial modes, which utilize player-made decks that are played by a computer-controlled opponent. Because of this, Versus mode is much more competitive. Versus Arena is broken down by arena tiers. Each tier will require you to beat a number of opponents to earn stars to reach the next tier. For example, at Arena Tier 1, you need to earn 2 stars to get to Arena Tier 2. The higher up you go, the more stars you're going to need before you get to the next tier. Simply winning a match will earn players gold, experience, an instant complete ticket, a card that's generally of normal or green rarity, and a victory star. Leveling up to the next star tier will net more gold and stronger, more rare cards the further up you go. Now on to strategy when it comes to Versus Arena matches. The first thing you'll need to know is that once you get past Tier 4, the decks start to look eerily similar. Let's start briefly with your leader character. This will definitely depend on your deck, however, there are 3 common leaders that you'll see, and I'll briefly comment on them. Utilize the leaders that work best for your deck, even if it's not one of these 3. Black Widow. Natasha is a very good leader in that she'll pump the health of your zero-cost cards so that they can stay alive just a little bit longer and survive being knocked out by cards with higher attack skills. She's a great leader to use if you want to play up the usage of cards like Stick, Scorpion, and Man-Ape. Star-Lord. What's great about Star-Lord is that his ability to increase the health of characters when cards with 2 cosmic fragments or more are played will increase the health of all kinds of cards, even zero-cost cards. While this ability will select a character randomly, it's a fantastic ability to sustain your team over the course of a battle. He's a great choice that doesn't require you to build a very specific deck to be competitive. Wasp. Wasp is the only character that gives you a chance to save your action cards after use. While the chance is slim, the ability to have an extra action card could be the difference between winning a battle and losing it. If you're going to use Wasp, I recommend picking between 4 and 5 action cards to use to maximize the benefits of Wasp's leader ability. Now I'm going to list 10 of the cards you're going to see the most of, so you can either slot them or make a plan to defeat them. With each card I mention, I'll also give 3 options for alternate cards you can slot to counter that card. Note that these are not the only ways to counter the cards, just some suggestions. Now let's get into it. Thor. Thor is one of those cards that everyone slots for obvious reasons. He's strong, has high health, high attack power, and he puts out a massive amount of damage at range per turn. Not many characters do what he does, and simply having him on the field uncontested can ruin you or your opponent's strategies. As he is an attack per turn character, he does not attack on the turn he is summoned, so players have a short window before he brings the lightning and starts damaging your characters. 3 great counters to beat him are Techno-Organic Virus, Gwenpool, and Target Locked. Malekith. Consider Malekith to be like a baby Thor. He takes 1 less cosmic fragment to summon him, and all of his stats are a little less than Thor, but he's well worth the cost of fragments to put pressure on opponents. In the event you find yourself with Malekith and Thor on the board, you can expect the match won't continue for too much longer. Unlike Thor, Malekith will attack a random opponent, which actually works in your favor when summoning him early in a match, as he won't just focus high health enemies that may not go down in one shot. He will also focus the smaller enemies, so that you can clear off spaces and create a strategy for a battle line. Counters for Malekith are Techno-Organic Virus, Gwenpool, and Yaka arrows. Doctor Strange. It seems like everyone has Doctor Strange now, and they aren't afraid to use him. He has high health and high attack, and when played properly, he can protect your entire team after a battle line is made, so you don't lose a single one of your cards. Doctor Strange's protection will only last for 1 round, and he can only protect against 1 attack. But there is a huge amount of strategy in both playing Doctor Strange and countering him. If he's been used against you and he's part of a battle line, the only options you have is to either use a combination of cards to truly counter him properly, or use Guide to the Afterlife, or another card that can defeat him without needing to break his protection first. Luckily, since Doctor Strange is a one and done card, after his protection wears off, you can freely remove him from the field. Counter cards for Doctor Strange is Smart Missiles, Guide to the Afterlife, and Chain Lightning plus Gwenpool. Gwenpool. I've already listed her twice as a great card to counter characters, and really she's the oh no character card that you play like an action card and it can save you in a pinch. Simply put, in the late game battles, When both teams have exhausted all of their action cards, she's the one ace up your sleeve that can keep you from losing the match, but she's also kind of a crapshoot too, as she will use all of your cosmic fragments in the process, leaving you at a disadvantage to play a powerful card the next turn. Keep her advantages and disadvantages in mind when you decide to use her, or if she gets used against you. Counter cards for her are Shroud, Winter Soldier at level 3, and Flames of the Fall Team. Captain America. He's probably one of the best mid-range cards you can get. When he's played properly, he can decimate a team of low-level characters or clear out your opponent's battle line that they just used to attack you. He's a fantastic striker card, fairly easy to obtain, and scales very well as you level him up. To put it simply, there are very few cards that are as well balanced as Captain America is. Counter cards are Luke Cage, Ultron, Ronin, and pretty much any high health card. Stick. Stick was originally kind of a sleeper card that has grown in popularity immensely with the global release. He's a growth character that will continue to rise in strength the more action cards are used, and his power can very quickly become formidable enough to stomp out mid and high tier opponents. While even at high levels of his card, he's initially very weak. People still mistake him as being fairly non-threatening, and will usually focus the larger, higher health cards until they realize that Stick has grown to be stronger than all of them. Luckily, countering Stick is simple. Make sure you knock him out before he has a chance to grow in strength. Counter cards are Lady Bullseye, Electro, and Whiplash. Drax. While we're on the topic of growth cards that can quickly get out of control, Drax is one of those cards that, if you leave him unchecked, can kill your whole team one by one as he grows in strength. Unlike She-Hulk, who is another great growth card, Drax increases his strength even faster, and at the same rate regardless of how many characters are on the field. Beat him early or else you'll run into a very big problem. On the flip side though, protect him for just a few turns and a simple 3-square battle line will be enough to win you the match. Counter cards are Thor, Scorpion, and Dr. Octopus. Scorpion. Scorpion is a very tricky kamikaze card that, when used properly, can be the savior of a battle. While he's generally weak and easy to kill, a simple touch of his poison can kill even the strongest of opponents. Unfortunately, if an enemy attacks Scorpion, his poison will not activate and knock them out. But, utilizing cards like Common Enemy will proc Scorpion's poison without knocking Scorpion out, which means the combination of the two is deadly, even if there are no other cards on the field to aid in attacking the enemy selected. If you see Scorpion being used against you, make sure you take him out before he's able to hit you, or keep your strongest cards very far away from him. Counter cards are Clea, Whiplash, and Deathlock. Iron Man. He's the first epic card everyone obtains, and while his ability isn't as strong as it once was, Iron Man is still a high health, multiple opponent striker that you'll see a lot of simply because many players have access to him. Luckily, only level 2 and above Iron Man cards will really put a major damper on your team in terms of ability damage. Where Iron Man excels is his high health to ensure that he holds a square through multiple assaults. Another important point to note is that Iron Man after his initial attack is usually deemed as being low priority, and players don't often bother whittling his health down, which makes him a bigger threat than players imagine. Counter cards are Radioactive Warning, Scorpion, and Malekith. Hulk. In the same avenue as Thor and Malekith, many players slot Hulk as another high health, heavy pressure, damage per turn character. Unlike Thor and Malekith, Hulk can only attack enemies that are near him. But also unlike Thor, Hulk doesn't have a variable special attack. While Hulk's high health comes in handy to hold a square and its surrounding area, his attack points aren't nearly as high as Thor, which makes him only slightly less useful in a battle line configuration. Still, as one of the most coveted characters both in popularity and strength, he's a very common card to see in versus arena matches. Counter cards are Thor, Kicked Out, and Techno-Organic Virus. When it comes to action cards, there are many that come in handy, and the most common ones people will slot are Smart Missile, Techno-Organic Virus, Yaka Arrows, Common Enemy, and Tactical Retrieval. And there's my quick recap of the versus arena, and some basic strategies to look for as well as ways you may consider countering them. If you have any questions over anything I've covered here, or there's another video that you'd like to see, definitely leave a message in the comments and I'll try and get something created for it. Please subscribe if these videos help at all. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in game.